Well, welcome back, my gardening friends. Well, today I just want to show you how I prepare my beds for winter, whether it be planting up or mulching, or this year I'm trying the green manure. So that's the field beans. I have got some mustard seeds that I'm going to try around some of the brassicas, the ones we're picking around February, the sprouting broccoli. These are my broad beans, Bunyard's exhibition. These can go out today as well, and then I'll show you where I'm going to be planting the field beans and all the other materials I use to help mulch, cover the beds, getting them ready for the spring. So let's get these moved into their positions, and I'll take you a little stroll around and explain to you what I'm doing at this time of the year. It's October the 16th, and some of the beds are ready, some aren't, but the ones that are ready we'll have a little look at. So we may as well start off with next year's carrot bed. This bed hasn't had anything at all this time. It's a fresh bed. There's a few worms come to the top. You saw at the beginning of the video the pallet collar with the netting on the top. That was to stop the pigeons having a feast on the broad beans. I'm not going to be able to net everything this time. I'm just going to have to take a chance that they don't find them. But I've prepared this bed. It's got the manure right at the bottom, and we've been sifting it, and we've got it all levelled out. So all I'm going to be doing with these beds is putting the cardboard on. If they were a carrot bed that was already here and it was going to be reused and hadn't got the motley dwarf virus that the carrot willow aphid spreads out, I would have rejuvenated the compost, and that's in one of the videos. But all I'm going to do with this one this time is put the cardboard on, and I'll show you my parsnip bed that had carrots in this time, which had the disease, but I'm going to put parsnips in their place, and I should just put some wooden battens on. So cardboard, ideal, protects the worms, let them have a little play underneath. There's no organic manure strength matter that the carrots will fork next year, hopefully, he says, because this is sieve compost from out of there. I may have got some compost in, but it might take 1 or 2 years to get carrots that haven't got the little legs on them. But hopefully this will just protect it over the winter. The worms will play underneath, they'll be protected, and it'll be reasonably weed free, other than a few around the outside, which we can just pluck out as they grow. So on to the parsnip bed for next year. These are this year's parsnips, and I harvest them. They stay in the ground. I don't take them out of the ground, I leave them in the ground, and all these leaves I'll just keep the top mulched. Very little weeds have come into those, with plenty of green growth, and this one's now ready to leave, and I've had a little look underneath, and there's 1 or 2 worms, but I'm not going to lift it up now and disturb them. But this one is now ready. So this is the cardboard method, and if I really wanted to, I could actually cover it all in some compost that I will show you later on. So this is my polytunnel. I'm taking the blue barrels out of this side. You can see the gaps as the plants finally give. There's 1 or 2 courgettes on that one up to the right of you. This has been cleared out now, and this has just had cardboard on. I've planted the strawberry plants down the side. I'm just short of 5 strawberry plants, and they've had the cardboard and a few bricks to hold it down. And then these blue barrels this side which are going to stay this year have had a helping of manure, one shovelful and a cardboard on top, so I'll quickly show you that. So this manure is teeming with life. These worms now from the manure runoff bin, I'll show you that later. So we just put a little layer in there. Those worms can work away. And then I've just cut some thin cardboard, not that thick stuff. That one's a little bit wetter, so we'll stick that on there, put the brick on it, and again we might get a few weeds on the outside. The cardboard's there to protect the worms from the birds. I love my robin, but he ain't having all my worms, and it'll keep it moist even if we have a few dry days. It just helps stop, it lets the water through but helps stop the water coming back out again. So these are slowly getting there. I haven't got much manure because I haven't collected any because of the pandemic, so I've got to be careful how much I use. I want enough to finish all these barrels off. That's why I've not been in particular about doing some of the other places. They can have some of my liquid manure in spring. Some people use plastic sheeting. I have got some. I use this to line my beds. I don't mind using plastic in some ways, but I don't personally like covering my soil over the winter with plastic. I like to let the soil breathe. That's my personal opinion. Some people use membrane, and that works. But obviously it's at a little cost. This is the old pond liner, and all that's doing is keeping the soil dry so that I can move it around the allotment without it being sloppy. But the beds here where the walking onions, the brood balls, some of the garlic have all had a mulching of this compost. Now it's got perlite in it. It does go a little bit green over the winter months, but this is a free resource I get, and I'll show you again later on. But this does help keep the weeds down. It's a little bit of effort to collect this, but again it's well worthwhile. It's all free. Now you'll see a little bit of plastic there and a plastic lid. There's the plastic that you would cover the whole bed with, but I use the odd bits of plastic just to trap the slugs. The slugs will crawl under there. That'll gain a lot of moisture. They'll like it, crawl up inside, and we'll just check over the winter on a regular basis and collect the slugs. Now you can collect the slugs, put them in water, make your own nematodes. I haven't tried that yet, but of course, you know, I will do soon in another episode. And plastic, the slugs love plastic. I've only put this down today for the filming purposes, but I'm hoping to get bits of plastic, these lids, all over the allotment to try and collect the slugs over the winter so they don't do any damage in the spring. So there's the shallots and there's the elephant garlic in the second bed. So this is the red Russian garlic that I had sent me from William Coleman. And these are my compost bins with the lids up. You may be wondering what this is. Well, this stops the roofs flipping right over, and when they're down I'll fasten them down to that hook so they can't lift up. Well, they can lift up, but it's on a spring. These are the bottoms out of a chair, sofa, what we sit on. Recycle, repurpose. This is the cocoa coir. Lovely material, again from the same source, but as it dries out it does blow about the allotment a bit. As long as it doesn't blow next door, and they get it for free. I'm not bothered. Then this is another lot of the compost, a little bit rougher this is than the other. I'll show you some more, but the people who dispose of this have added perlite. Thank you. Some more material. I don't use this for mulching. This is my spent potato compost. Anything that we had in pots goes back in here, because this is my homemade mixture, so there's lumps of manure and all sorts, and that will go into my mix for next year. Then we move on to the last bait. It's a little bit smaller because we don't get so much of this, and this is my leaf mould. This is 2-year-old leaf mould, and another material that we could use to mulch our beds, especially the square foot gardening, something like that, where it wouldn't be wasted. Ah, you caught me. Well, this is my permanent potato bed, so basically I'm keeping the water from the potatoes, trying to keep them as reasonably dry as I can, so I can harvest them when I want throughout the winter, even when we've got the frosts. And hopefully any potatoes I leave behind, they'll grow next year. So this is here just to stop water from getting to the potatoes. The leaf mould would be ideal here, but I will be taking all the slats out, most of these. Whether I try and grow something when I create the coal frames on them, again, it's something I've got to do, but that may be something more for the spring. But we're still getting some nice crops from these beds. And there's the vertical gardening. Very little left. We're just waiting for Bill and Val's pongo beans to dry out to harvest the seed. This is one of 2 of my manure bins, so the manure goes in here. It's all lined so that no moisture can escape outside. There's a filtering system right at the front, and then the tap, the IBC tap, then goes into these containers, and that's black liquid gold, that's liquid manure. And now we've got the roof on, it will be a concentrate. Now we're not so much mulching the beds, but we're mulching the paths. This is probably 2 to 3 years old now, so every year I just remulch it, and that does help stop most of the weeds. So we've got a pile here of the leaf mould reject. So this is sticks, twigs and everything else, and I will be using some of that to mulch my new cabbage bed for the giant cabbages. So I've got that material. And of course we've got the autumn fall now, so why not use leaves to mulch your beds? They do flap about a bit and fly off, but why not use nature's way of mulching? The trees drop the leaves onto the floor, it stops the weeds growing, so they take all the nutrients from the ground. Isn't nature wonderful? So we have to replicate it. So we've spoken about wood chips. You can use these on your garden beds. They will rob it of nitrogen, but depends on what you're planting. Back to Eden. So there's always that opportunity, and even more so, this is 3-year-old wood chips, exactly the same what we've just looked at, but these are 3 years old, and I sift these, as with the leaf mould, 50-50 to make my own seedling compost. Check out my videos, especially the playlists. So this bed's been cleared of all the raspberries. Now, no doubt they're going to be popping up all over the place, the raspberries. This is another compost find. For my new viewers, these are the cannabis root balls, which cannabis growers unscrupulously dump in lanes, in the road, wherever they decide. and I pick them up. So that root ball will break down to something like this. Don't forget cocoa coir, and a lot of these composts haven't got any nutrients in. The compost manufacturers add the nutrients, and then we do afterwards, and I use my liquid plant foods. So everywhere you look on my allotment, there is a free resource somewhere. Gardening on a budget at its best. You saw that massive pile of soil earlier that's covered with a pond liner. I'm raising this bed up now, another scaffold plank. These brassicas won't mind, so I can get rid of a bit more soil. And you may be able to see here where we've mulched with some of the cocoa coir, and the worms have been mixing it. I only put a thin layer down, and there some of the not purple sprouting, the scarlet, red stuff, and kale there. I think I'm going to be planting Marie Curry's broad beans in this bed. They're the crimson flowered broad beans that she sent me. Very kind of you, Marie. And as these brassicas disappear, hopefully we'll have a little clump of those. Got this bit of netting up, you can see, to stop the pigeons getting at the winter cabbage. And basically I don't stop the butterflies, I try and stop the pigeons from flying in. They can't climb, so they have to fly in. If they can't fly in, they can't get in. And hopefully they see the netting and think, I ain't going to his plot, I'm going to somebody else's. And the broad beans Bunyard's exhibition, I'm going to have to interplant with the Swedes as we pick them up. There's a few going rotten, so as we harvest these, it'll give them more room. But we're running out of space, guys. That's the bed for the asparagus. You'll get to see a video on that fairly soon. So we're now down to the field beans, another good way of mulching and adding some nice nutrients into the soil. And these again are Bill and Val's Pomgo beans, seed saving. Now I've had to buy these field beans. Now look at the difference. This is the 50-50 compost, 50-50 wood chip and leaf mould mix, and you can see they're doing really great. These are the ones that were chitted, and the reason we use kitchen rolls instead of toilet rolls, because of these horrible, not horrible long tap roots, but they do put out big tap roots. So I'm going to get those planted. The reason for chitting is because the mice will eat them. So I do battle with the mice while they're in the bean, and then I do battle with the pigeons when they've got some leafy growth. Well, we'll have to wait and see. So let's get these planted. Anyone new to my channel wondering what these are my underground worm farms. So I add all my kitchen scraps straight into here, chop them up, add some different ingredients. You'll find that in my playlists, and it's a great way of feeding any permanent beds, so you haven't got to dig. The worms will do all the work. If you search on Google for underground worm farms, my video is there, first on the list. So if you see the broad bean plant there, you can see the taproot. That's why I use kitchen rolls normally. I didn't think the field beans would get this big, but you can see that's why I use kitchen rolls and not toilet rolls. Save disturbing the roots. So these are nearly all in. We'll get the small ones in now, and there, look, there's the old tap root, and it ain't going to be happy. It ain't going to be happy at all with me. But you can understand why we need the either a deep root trainer or the kitchen rolls. And when these have in the spring, before they start flowering, we'll just cut them all down, and we'll put a little bit more mulch on the top. I will mulch these after. I've just found a pea. So again, the pea bean family have all got long tap roots, and as you know, I'm not going to waste that. We'll stick that in the corner and see how that pea does over the winter. So the next thing, I'll fire some of these in. Not all the beans have actually germinated, but hey ho, I think we all appreciate we don't get 100%. I started planting them and then realised that I couldn't see where I've been, so I'm going to scatter them all out first. Well, that's that done. Was it worth it chitting them first? I don't know. Maybe next year I'll plant direct, but we can only see. Wait and see. I know the rats have already had a go at the underground worm farms, didn't get in, but they'll take those beans out the ground and you won't even know it. So let's move on to the broad beans, the Bunyard's exhibition. And my mates there, look, middle of the screen. Right, I'll finish clearing the bed of some dead leaves and any rotten Swedes. What you found? Just trying to sort out how many these are reasonably decent, but the tap root has just come out the bottom, and a lovely root system on there, so they get a good start in life. Oh, he's still with me, singing away. Are you happy? Of course you are. What's this? Food? Well, I'm trying to get as many in as down this end as I can. I'm ending up down into some of the layers of hops, etc., and I'm going to be raising these beds up a little bit. Sorry, what was that? It's a worm. No. Okay. Oh, right. I'll get these in and planted. Well, that's the broad beans planted. They're in this half of the bed, so we've got a chance to put something else in the other half. This bed has sunk like the others, so as I take the root vegetables out, I'll keep topping this up with some of the compost, and if I've got any spare manure. And the way the robin's taken all the worms and all the other bits, it'll take me years to fill this up. Yeah, so mulching the beds helps keep those weeds at bay. Those are the parsnips that we chitted. We just get the occasional weed, which doesn't take much getting out. I'll be thinning those out shortly. and hopefully I'll be able to get enough of these pallet collars together now to make up a new bed here. I can pinch a couple from there. I think there's one good one on the Jerusalem artichokes, so I can empty these beds so I can line the water barrels up, so I can use the siphoning method to join each barrel. Happy gardening to you all. Hope you found that interesting, and you've got a few little tips that I tend to use, or I am using, so that green manure is a first for me, but hopefully use it more and more often. Take care, my friends. Till next time. Ta-ra for now.